Hey, what's going on? You know who it is. It is Bruce Jordan, the Michael Jordan Hotels. And this video is being sponsored by Wenzell and Fisher Hospitality. Anything dealing with task force, hotel staffing, you have to call Wenzell and Fisher. We got Peter Wenzell in the house. What's going on?
What's going on, man? Glad to be in Vegas at the Hotel Equities Conference for this great 2025 trade show they got going on today.
Nice, nice. And today we're going to be talking about hotel staffing. What do you need to do and the steps that you need to take to make sure your hotel is in order when it comes to staffing. Man, tell me about some of the staffing issues that you had in the past. Like, cause I done had some nightmares myself, so I know you probably had quite a few.
You know, staffing in hotels and hospitality alone is it's tough from never knowing what's going to happen. When I was a GM, you go in at 7 in the morning and you might get a call off and somebody might walk out or someone's sick and you never know what that day might bring, and we may or may have not had enough staff to cover that. And I was happy to hop in as a GM to cover shifts, but at the end of the day, that would really put me behind on what I needed to do for the property as a whole. So, staffing all in our business, that's what it encompasses, and what really makes it go round to make sure that our guests are taken care of. And if you don't have the right staff and the right people in the right place, then how can you run in a hotel?
Now, as far as management is concerned, they're always going to have staffing issues unless they're in a heavily populated place where there's a lot of competition. But I ran into situations where one person will quit, another person leaves, someone else is going to return leave. Like,
Yep.
what are some of the things that you do when you have those type of staffing issues?
When I
And
was a GM and on the road, and I would have team members that either got sick or that had to take time off for a certain period of times, or we always worked on retention and keeping team members from leaving, but sometimes that just doesn't happen the way you want it to. So for us, it was always trying to be ahead of the curve with staffing, making sure we had the right people in the right places. Is it, do we do mid shifts? Do we do, different types of shifts to make it work with what we have? However, when we needed a shift covered and didn't have it, that's when, for me, making sure that task force is available is always a good option. And if hotels that we work with, they obviously know that we're here and know that, when they run into these issues, whether, a GM needs time off, an AGM, any position, because we staff front desk, housekeeping, sales, food and beverage, anything, they can call us and we step right in to fill the roles that are needed.
nice, nice. Everything's happens so fast in this business, and some people just don't work out. Their resume looks great, and then you
Yeah.
hire them, and they're like, how do I do this? Like, well, you said you know how to do it on your resume. Why are you asking me how do you do it? Especially when it comes to systems and stuff like that. So, like, what are some of the things that you do when you see that an employee's not going to work out, and you don't want to hurt the operation by letting this employee go prematurely?
So speaking when I was on property, you always want to work with somebody, and the way that I hired back then when I was a GM on property and the way that I hire now as an owner of my company
Mm-hmm.
is all about experience. And you can look at a resume and that tells one story, but how does it go in an interview? And being a GM on property, you have a chance to do face-to-face interviews. When we're at WNF, we do virtual interviews and we do them as best we can with cameras and phones and references and backgrounds. Sometimes we get a feeling when when it might work or when it doesn't, but we give people opportunities. We'll send somebody out. We'll give people chances, but if it doesn't work, then we look at why and how do we can work with them, or we might not be able to send them back out again just based on feedback that we get from our partners and such.
My experience, it's been like when I have to let someone go is when I don't get coverage fast enough. I
Right.
yeah, I know it's coming. I see it's coming, and you don't set up properly in time.
Right.
So that's what I see a lot that's going on right now.
If you don't have adequate staffing on your property, the workload's going to shift to the other team members throughout the building.
Mm-hmm.
One job of a front desk agent might turn into having to go inspect rooms, and we're all about team players and making it happen. But if you put too much work on your team and not enough staff, then people are going to leave. They don't want to be overworked. This is 2025, and a lot of everybody, all of us, want a work-life balance. And if you don't have the staff and you're overworking the team members, no matter how much overtime you pay, they're not going to be satisfied. They're not going to be happy. So when you talk about WNF Hospitality Group and what we offer that fast support that can come in now to help relieve that. We can come in on a contract basis and we can help your hotel so your staff doesn't feel overwhelmed. And we can come in, alleviate that pressure until you get the need filled, and then we move on, which in turn keeps your turnover rate lower because you're not overworking your team members.
Yeah, I think that was another key point that issue that I used to have all the time that I don't have as much anymore is when you want to hire somebody else, like you have someone that's temporary, we have a task force or a temporary employee, and another person's coming in, that person can stay along and train them. Like you don't have to worry about this person just throwing them in the water and hoping they can swim.
From doing this now, we have that. Again, just what I talked about. As a company, we go in there, we fill the need, but just this situation that's going on right now, a hotel had one of our team members working the desk at a Marriott property, and they got the need filled. Great. That's what it's for. We're there to fill the need and then move on. But they kept our team member there for an additional 2 weeks to train the new team member that they had. So it's not sink or swim, because we could have left and that hotel could have said, no, we don't need to invest in another couple of weeks with WNF. They could have just sent their team member on their way to learn it on their own.
Mm-hmm.
Instead, they kept us to help train. Now we're able to say, fly on your own.
Yeah.
And call us when you need us again.
Nice. And that's the most important thing about that is that you don't have to worry about that employee quitting because they've been trained properly. Because when you let someone drown, they're more than likely they're gonna be like, I don't need this. I'm out of here.
Yeah.
They don't give 2 weeks notice anymore. They just like, see ya.
Nope.
Deuces.
They don't. They, from what I've heard from our partners, it could be a fire drill. Oh, somebody just left. Can you help us? Well, we're here to help immediately, and we're always watching our emails on our phones of when a call comes in to help in that situation. Or it could be somebody put in a proper notice,
mm-hmm.
and we need to line somebody up for that time frame to have them there for the transition. There's so many different ways that we as a company and task force helps hotels. It could be that fire drill,
mm-hmm.
or it could be something that's planned, that coverage might be needed, and whatever position it is. We serve every position in hotels, full service, select, it doesn't matter.
Shoot, in this day and age, proper notice is make sure I have my check is ready next week. That's like
no, the proper notice is they walk out and then they call you 2 weeks later, ask them where the money is.
Yeah.
I've heard that too. There's so many stories, and it's crazy because our industry is such a good industry, and I wish that people would just, take time to embrace into it and know that it's not easy. This is not an easy business, that.
Nah, it's really not. It's really not. But
but it's rewarding.
But my thing is, I'd rather be a little over budget or versus being way under budget and then get my budget cut for a position that I actually need. You know what I mean? So that's the way I see it.
Agreed. Sure. It's if you don't use the labor,
yeah,
then ownership's gonna be like,
you never needed it. You guys are fine. You never needed this. You're good.
But it's important to make sure you have adequate staffing to ensure that your operation is running smoothly. We all want to cut labor. We know labor is the biggest expense in a hotel in any business, frankly. But I would not, as an owner, slack on my budget to cut costs
Yeah,
because I want my company ran well.
absolutely, absolutely.
And that goes for any operation.
Well, listen, how can everybody get in touch with you?
So you can contact me LinkedIn. That's my biggest platform, Peter Wenzell. And then you can also email me at peter.wenzel@wenzellfisherhg.com. Um, and then my cell phone number, which is on my business cards and my email signature and everywhere else. I'm pretty easy to find, or just ask Bruce. He'll get a hold of me too.
I'll make it happen. And thank you so much. This is Bruce Jordan, the Michael Jordan Hotel, signing out.
It's Peter Wenzell coming from Las Vegas at the 2025 All In Hotel Equities Leadership Conference. I'd like to thank everyone that has sat down with Bruce Jordan today to talk about your experience and your insights throughout the industry. And if you are in need of hotel task force staffing, call me directly. Get in touch with me on LinkedIn. My cell phone number, 551-260-4453. My email address, and I look forward to meeting everybody and taking care of your hotel staffing needs. Call WNF and let us take your hotel one step forward and deliver the ultimate hospitality experience. Thank you.